You know that feeling. Staring at the grocery receipt thinking, did I accidentally buy, like, gold-plated avocados?
Uh-huh. Eggs are suddenly pricey. Bread's getting close to $4.
And cereal. Yeah, don't even start. So if your wallet's, gasping for air and your stomach's staging protests,
Yeah.
well, you'll want to hear this.
Because today we're jumping into a really interesting challenge. How to actually eat on just $20 a week. We're looking at a guide called Extreme Grocery Hacks.
Yeah, and it's got some, surprisingly useful stuff in it.
It really does.
And look, this isn't about some crash diet you're going to ditch in 3 days. It's more like a financial adventure almost.
Like being Indiana Jones, but with coupons instead of a whip.
Exactly. It's about eating smart, eating affordably. So our mission here is basically to pull out the key stuff, the most surprising bits from this guide.
Get you the info fast so you can maybe, tackle that grocery bill.
Right. Okay, so the guide starts with something it calls the $20 mindset.
Yeah, and they stress this is maybe more important than, like, any specific shopping list. It's about changing how you think about food shopping.
Totally. You got to ditch the fancy recipes, the stuff with truffle oil or, organic, wild-caught unicorn tears.
Yeah, pretty much. The new priorities when you're on this kind of budget are super simple.
Okay, what are they?
Cheap, edible, and safe. That's kind of the baseline.
Cheap, edible, safe. Got it. So what does that mindset actually involve?
Well, the guide points to a few things. Flexibility is key. Swapping ingredients if something else is cheaper.
Okay, makes sense.
Then there's hustle. Like, you probably need to compare prices, maybe hit a couple of stores.
A bit of legwork involved?
Yeah. And finally, using spices strategically. Big one.
Yeah, yes, spices.
That's good.
The poor people's flavor bombs, as the guide puts it, which is kind of funny, but also true.
It really is. We'll definitely circle back to that. But first, the guide lays out some rules of engagement for this price fight.
Okay, the battle plan. Let's hear it.
All right. Rule 1. Embrace generic brands. Store brands,
Right. The guide says the quality difference is often tiny, yeah.
Exactly. Sometimes they're even made in the same place as the name brands, so you're paying way less for basically the same thing.
Good tip. What's next?
Recognizing processed food can be, a budget trap. You pay a lot for convenience.
Yeah. Pre-cut veggies, ready meals, they add up.
Definitely. Making stuff from scratch, even simple things, is almost always cheaper than focusing on protein over snacks.
Protein keeps you full, right? Better value than, like, chips.
Precisely. Keeps you satisfied longer so you don't just buy more empty-calorie snacks later. Better bang for your buck.
Okay, good one. And this next one? We've all been there.
Yeah. Never shop hungry.
Uh-huh. Hunger makes you grab stuff you don't need. Impulse buys.
Absolutely. Derails the whole plan. Then buying in bulk if you can use it or freeze it.
Right. Because wasted food is wasted money. Simple as that.
Exactly. And the last rule is about choosing food for, like, nutrition, not just how pretty it looks online. Yeah. Substance over style.
Got it. Okay, so mindset, rules. Now, what does a $20 shopping trip actually look like, according to this guide? We give an example list.
They do. A sample list, U.S. prices roughly, and it totals, get this, $19.10. Leaves you a little change.
Wow. Okay. What's on it?
All right. So a dozen eggs, maybe $1.80. Whole wheat bread, $1.50. A pound of rice, like $1.20.
Staples. Makes sense.
Uh-huh. Lentils or dry beans, about $1.30. Frozen mixed veggies, just $1.
Okay.
A pound of carrots, under $1. 6 bananas, $1.30. Peanut butter, $1.80.
Peanut butter is essential budget food.
Totally. Pasta, another $1. Canned tomato sauce, maybe 80 cents.
So cheap.
Yeah. Oats, $1.20. Margarine, $1.30. And then, importantly, they budget $2 for basic spices, salt, pepper, garlic powder.
Okay, $19.10. It's tight. And you mentioned something missing earlier.
Ah, yes. The guide makes a joke about the land of why is cheese $7.
Right. No cheese on the list. That definitely shows the trade-offs.
Yeah.
Cheese is, often expensive.
Mm-hmm. It really is. So, okay, you've got this basket of pretty basic stuff. What can you actually make? This brings us to the Lazy Genius meal plan.
Lazy genius. I like it. So, breakfast.
Super simple, filling stuff. Think oatmeal. Maybe add some banana, peanut butter. The guide calls it a chef's kiss.
Can't argue with oatmeal. What else?
Toast with peanut butter. Or boiled eggs with carrot sticks. Apparently that's Euro, not weird.
Okay, noted. Lunch.
Keeping it simple again. Rice with beans and carrots. And they say, season it like it owes you money. Flavor's key.
Gotta make it tasty.
Yeah. Or the classic peanut butter and banana sandwich. They call it elite broke cuisine.
Love it.
And lentil soup with bread. You know, like Grandma used to make if Grandma was broke.
A recurring theme. Okay, dinners.
Same idea, stretching those basics, like a stir fry with rice, eggs, frozen veggies.
Versatile.
Pasta with tomato sauce, maybe add some diced carrots to bulk it up, or just a simple egg and veggie scramble.
Right. It's all about using those core items in different ways. What about snacks, though? Anything left for snacks?
Barely. The guide's realistic. Maybe leftover toast. Raw carrots. A spoonful of peanut butter if you need energy.
Or chewing gum, it suggests.
Yeah, just to, curb the craving. And they throw in a little dig. All this on $20. Gordon Ramsay could never.
It really does show what you can manage when you get creative. Okay, then the guide goes into some, old school wisdom, grandma-approved budget hacks.
Exactly. These are the tricks that people have used forever because, well, they work. Like soaking dry beans.
Takes planning, but way cheaper than canned.
For sure. Freezing leftovers, super important to avoid waste. And turning stale bread into croutons.
Crunchy gold, don't throw it out.
Right? And using oats for more than just breakfast, like as a filler in meatloaf, apparently.
Or smoothies. Adds fiber cheaply.
Good point. And peeling your own carrots. It's almost always cheaper than buying the little baby ones.
Simple, but it adds up.
And here's a weird one, maybe. Reusing pasta water to cook veggies.
Really? Does that do anything?
Adds a little starch, maybe some flavor. It's about using everything.
Waste not, want not, taken seriously. Okay, circling back to flavor spices. You said they were important.
Hugely important. The guide really pushes this. A small spend on spices can totally elevate these basic meals.
So beyond just salt and pepper.
Yeah, like garlic powder. They call it a game changer. Adds so much flavor. Maybe grab a cheap hot sauce, some chili flakes.
Things that give you a lot of flavor for not much money.
Exactly. Makes the simple food feel less, boring.
Makes sense.
Oh.
Okay, the guide also tackles some common myths about eating cheap. What are those?
Right. Busting budget food myths. First one, healthy food is expensive.
And the counter.
Carrots. Super cheap, super healthy. Boom. Myth busted.
Fair enough. What else?
Ramen is the only broke food. We all think it, right?
Kind of the stereotype.
But the guide says, think lentils instead. More protein, more fiber, more filling for your money long term.
Okay, good alternative.
Then there's people judge me for eating cheap.
What's the guide say to that?
Basically, who cares? It jokes that Jeff Bezos probably clips coupons. He doesn't. But the point is, being smart with money isn't shameful.
Right. And the last myth?
Organic is always better. The guide's pretty practical here. Organic is great if you can afford it, but on $20.
You prioritize just getting food, basically. Nutritional value over the organic label.
Exactly. Affordability comes first in this scenario.
Okay, so what happens when the fridge looks really empty? There's a section on Culinary Improv 101.
Yeah, this is where you gotta get creative, like MacGyver in the kitchen.
Okay, give me an example.
Got 2 mushrooms and half an onion left. Throw them in scrambled eggs. Got a can of tomatoes. Add water. Maybe grate in a carrot. Make a thin sauce.
Stretching things out.
Totally. The guide even jokes about eating peanut butter off a spoon and calling it protein mousse.
Desperate times.
But it's about learning to combine whatever you have. Adding water to soup, mixing rice and eggs with anything.
Right.
It's resourcefulness.
Right. It's not lazy, it's legendary, as the guide says. Which leads nicely into the next bit, the Jedi mindset shift.
Yeah, this is about reframing the whole experience. It's not just about survival.
It's about building skills.
Exactly. You're learning to cook with limits. You're avoiding debt. You're appreciating food more. This broke wisdom, they call it.
That stays with you.
Yeah, it's valuable even when you have more money later. You'll be that friend who can make something great out of nothing.
That's actually a pretty cool skill to have.
Definitely. And that brings us to the end, your $20 legacy.
What's the legacy?
It's recognizing what you've done, eating well, or at least decently, on such a tiny budget. That's an accomplishment.
It's more than just a hack, it says. It's like a survival story, a budgeting flex.
Yeah, or a foodie origin tale. You took $20 and turned it into meals. That's something.
So the idea is you can actually do this. Go to the store, be confident you can stick to that budget.
Exactly. Conquer the aisles, keep that receipt under $20.
So digging into this guide, it's clear that eating super affordably isn't just about, deprivation, it's really about strategy and creativity.
Resourcefulness, yeah. Understanding value.
Right. And it makes you wonder, even if your budget grows later, how might these skills, this whole mindset, how might that stick with you and change how you think about food and maybe even money long term?
Yeah.